What's going on there, YouTube? Welcome back to another comic book video. Okay, so we're going to continue our coverage over the Ultimate Marvel Universe. Now, I have been saying this for a while now, that the best book coming out of Ultimate Marvel is no longer Ultimate Spider-Man. Now, that book is still good, but it's not as good as the Ultimates. I really feel like the Ultimates is now the #1 book when it comes to all 4 different Ultimate titles. Now, for Black Panther, it's kind of easy to beat, but for the X-Men, it's way too easy to beat. But the Ultimates, like every single chapter that we have been given so far, have been complete, beautiful work. Like Camp is doing a great job on this book. And this one right here is not as great as the earlier chapters, but still, it's a great idea to bring in another character to the team. And also building up to the moment where we're going to see the Ultimates fighting against Ultimate Hulk, who's on the side of the Maker. And so getting into the opening pages for today's video, we actually pick up with Iron Lad and also Steve Rogers, Captain America. Now, when it comes to these two characters, they are actually talking about somebody going around and attacking different Roxxon facilities around the world. Now, real quick, I want to jump over to the main Marvel universe. And the reason why, because in that reality, when it comes to Roxxon, to the public, it may seem like they're a great company who is going out of their way to help out the innocent people. But in reality, they are a company that has some shady business happening around the world. And so it seems like the trend is actually continuing as we go into the Ultimate Marvel Universe. And the reason why I'm saying that, because we have Iron Lad actually telling Steve Rogers that somebody is going around and attacking different Roxxon facilities by using arrows. Now, as we all know, when it came to the Maker, when he had arrived in this reality, his main goal was to make this reality in his own image. And so for most people who were supposed to be heroes in this reality, well, unfortunately, they did not become the heroes they were supposed to be. Like Hawkeye. Apparently, Clint did not pick up the arrows like he was supposed to. Now, Tony tried to give it to him, but apparently for Hawkeye, he declined the actual offer. But you have Tony tell us that somebody else had picked up the mantle of Hawkeye and currently using those arrows to attack different Roxxon facilities. Now, for Iron Lad here, he says this person, the way he is working, his hero score kind of shows that he's not actually a hero. That in reality, he's kind of like an anti-hero or more of a villain. And so he wants Steve Rogers to find this guy and to bring him in, or to see if this guy can actually join the Ultimates. Now, the rest of the team is gone on different adventures. Now, once you have Steve Rogers arrive at the next location that is most likely going to be attacked by our mysterious Hawkeye, well, you have Steve Rogers actually being able to meet this new Hawkeye, Charlie Ramsey. Now, for Steve Rogers, he's able to tell that Charlie is Native American. Now, this might sound a tad bit political because you do have Charlie kind of begin to say how bad Roxxon truly is when it comes to him and his people. Now, this may sound a tad bit political, and this may tick off a few people, but the whole point of this story arc is really more saying, like, listen, when it comes to Native Americans, they were, they had land in this area first. But then out of nowhere, you had all these different companies just popping up left and right in their territory. And they're telling people like, hey, this company right here is going to make things better for you and all your people in this area. But in reality, they made things worse in that area. And the Native Americans, they begin to lose all their land. And so what Charlie Ramsey here, the new Hawkeye, is saying is that these companies sold us. They told us like, hey, listen, we're coming here. We're going to make things better for you and your people. But then once the waste of their chemicals is released in the area, it affects the area in a negative way. But also now him and his people, they have lost their land. And so it's him just fighting back. Now for Steve Rogers, I kind of like this a lot because you have Steve Rogers not really trying to fight against Hawkeye. It's really more him saying like, hey, I'm going to allow you to tell me your story so that I get the full understanding of what you are trying to do. Like, what is your actual story here? And for me personally, it kind of feels like Steve Rogers and Clint Barton back in the main Marvel universe. And let me explain. And I feel like somebody out there is going to say like, hey, Fresh, you are completely wrong. Guys, listen, that is your opinion. Here's my opinion. Now, the reason why I'm saying this because back in the main Marvel universe, when it came to Steve Rogers and Clint Barton, Clint was a bad guy. He was a criminal, but he hated the idea of being a bad guy. And so he had joined the Avengers. Now, I want to say it was Iron Man, Captain America, the Scarlet Witch, and also Quicksilver who allowed Clint to join the Avengers. But like I said, though, Clint was a bad guy. And so over here in the main Marvel universe, or in the Ultimate Marvel universe, it's the same thing where you have Charlie here, Charlie Ramsey, the new Hawkeye, being this bad guy, and you have Steve Rogers kind of like, I want to know more about you. Now, back in the main Marvel universe, once you had Clint being able to join the Avengers, over time, we saw that bond between Clint and Steve actually grow to the point where they had respect for one another. Especially after Steve Rogers died, there was a lot of things happening behind the scenes involving Clint. But it really showed that Clint had a lot of respect for Steve Rogers. And so in this reality, it kind of shows me that over time, these two characters are going to begin to kind of build that bond with one another so that down the road, we can officially say like, hey, Charlie here has a lot of respect for Steve Rogers. And for Steve, he has a lot of respect for Charlie as well. And even though Charlie's not a true hero, it's Steve saying like, I understand what he's doing. And in my eyes, he's still somewhat a hero to the world. Somebody we need on the Ultimates. Now, because Charlie did attack another Roxxon facility, they had sent out some soldiers to deal with Charlie, Hawkeye, but to also deal with Steve Rogers as well, because in this reality, the Ultimates are not really looked at as heroes. They're kind of looked at as criminals right now who are wanted. Either way, you have Steve and Charlie work together to take down the soldiers who work for Roxxon. And by the end of the battle, you can officially say like, hey, these two characters are going to begin to build this bond because you didn't have Steve say, listen, I'm going to tell Tony only great things about you. Like, we need you on the Ultimates. We need all hands on deck if we are going to be able to actually take down the Maker, who's going to reappear in 13 more months. We have 13 months to be properly prepared to deal with the Maker. And the question is, can we actually do it? But now we have to jump over to Emmanuel da Costa. Now, in the main Marvel universe, Emmanuel is actually the father to Sunspot in the main Marvel universe. Now, in this reality, if I remember correctly, they have not given us Ultimate Sunspot just yet, but we do see him freaking out because right now, with Steve Rogers and also Hawkeye attacking that last Roxxon facility, but the other ones that Hawkeye had attacked, it hurts him in a way when it comes to his portfolio. And so you have the Hulk telling Emmanuel, don't worry, everything is going to be handled, because the next chapter, we should be seeing the Hulk fighting against the Ultimates. But this is where we are going to end today's comic book video. So please leave me a like down below and subscribe. But guys, see y'all next time. Later.